Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode on the Forgotten Weapons Library. Today we're taking a look at a book by William Goforth entitled Iver Johnson, Arms and Cycle Works Firearms, 1871 to 1993. Iver Johnson is a company that doesn't get a whole lot of interest or even respect from a lot of gun collectors. They're often considered, kind of those cheap, old, uninteresting revolvers that end up in a bin with all the other kind of blasé plain stuff. Well, Iver Johnson actually had they're a very significant company in American firearms history. Iver Johnson himself was actually Norwegian, immigrated to the US in 1863. He was a trained gunsmith at that point, obviously found a lot of work right off the bat thanks to the American Civil War, and started building his own guns as early as 1871. He initially worked for the Allen and Wheelock Company, and then with a coworker split off to form his own company. And they started off making solid frame single shot derringers, and that company really built itself up into a major source of affordable firearms for people who needed a gun for protection or for sport, but couldn't really afford a top of the line Smith or Colt revolver. So there's hundreds of thousands of Iver Johnson revolvers out there, and they all kind of look fairly similar to the untrained eye. And what's really impressive about what William Goforth did is he actually tabulated and compiled and did a tremendous amount of research on Iver Johnson's and put this all together into a single volume book that allows us to actually look at specific guns and determine what they were, when they were made, and follow the development of these revolvers through the many, many design changes that they had. Unfortunately, Mr. Goforth passed away a few years ago. He used to be a regular on several Iver Johnson forums and happily answer questions for people. And I found out about him when I started trying to research a safety hammerless that I picked up, which I actually did a video on a couple months ago. And his is, as far as I can tell, just about the only decent book out there on the Iver Johnson. So I picked up a copy, and well, let's take a look inside and you can see what it's like. So inside, start with the table of contents, just to give you an idea of just how many models of Iver Johnson pistols there really were. Still going, so quite a bit there. Now, let's see. So here's just an example of a typical chapter. This particular one is 1900 to 1954 solid frame handguns. We've got diagrams, serial number lists by year in particular, which is real handy if you're trying to date a gun. And then different variations. Almost every chapter has pictures of advertisements and maybe some mechanical description like this of what may have changed over the course of a particular model. Let's see, moving on. I pulled this particular section out because this is the bit that actually covers the particular pistol that I found that I was trying to research. Went through here, and by finding my serial number and other characteristics, I was able to date mine as a 1906 or 1907 production. So that was cool to be able to determine. Now, as we get towards the back, obviously there are a lot of chapters like that covering the various pistols Iver Johnson made. Towards the back, we have a chapter specifically on the different latch mechanisms that were used. So most of this is done by patent drawing. That's kind of cool to see. And then one of the other nice features of the book is a parts diagram and parts list for pretty much every model of Iver Johnson. So if you have one and you need to find a source for a broken part, you can go to a place like Numeric and order parts, and this is a big help in figuring out what you actually need. Again, at the very end, we have specifications. So this is picture and then general technical data, size, length, weight, capacity, caliber, for, again, pretty much every major variant that Iver Johnson made. Just a real nice reference to have. And at the very end, we have a list of the different patents involved in these pistols. So anyone who wants to do further research on the specific patents, this is a good reference for that. So fortunately, Mr. Goforth's book is fairly affordable. It's still readily available. And I say that's a good thing because there really isn't much other source for print material on Iver Johnson history and development. So if this is an area of collecting that you're interested in, if it's an area you're really interested in, you probably already have a copy of the book. But if it's something that you'd like to learn more about, or you just want to have a really good reference for being able to identify some of those inexpensive, very common turn of the century and later revolvers that show up all the time, this is it. Iver Johnson, Arms and Cycle Works Firearms, 1871 to 1993. So, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and tune in again to ForgottenWeapons.com.